The snow started falling at 3:17 p.m. on Christmas Eve, soft and deliberate, like Charlotte itself was exhaling after a long year. I stood in the doorway of my South Park ranch home, the one with the cracked driveway and the mailbox that leans slightly left, watching the flakes settle on the azaleas I'd planted the year Marcus was born. My breath fogged the air. I wore the coat, threadbare camel hair, bought at the Goodwill on Park Road for $12 in 2018. The lining was torn, the buttons mismatched. It smelled faintly of mothballs and someone else's perfume. Perfect. Inside, the house was quiet. No tree this year, no lights, just the faint glow of the porch bulb and the hum of the refrigerator. I told Marcus I was scaling back after the divorce. He believed me. He always had. To him, I was Mom, the widow who clipped coupons, who drove a 2009 CRV with 180,000 miles, who baked banana bread for the church and lived on a nurse's pension. He didn't know I'd never been a nurse, didn't know the pension was a shell account, didn't know the CRV was one of 7 cars I owned, the others garaged under shell companies in Delaware. I checked my reflection in the hallway mirror. Hair in a low bun, gray roots showing, no makeup. The pearl studs I'd worn since my mother's funeral, real but small. The cracked leather purse, a relic from a 1995 business trip to Tokyo. I looked exactly like what they expected, a woman clinging to the edge of dignity, one utility bill away from disaster. My phone buzzed. Marcus. Mom, you still coming? Traffic's light. Table's at 7. I typed, on my way. I slipped the phone into the purse, took one last look around. The living room with its faded floral sofa. The kitchen table where Marcus did homework. The framed photo on the mantel. Me, him, his father at the beach in 2005, before the cancer, before the lies, before the empire. I locked the door. The key turned with a familiar click. The Ballantine was 20 minutes away, but I took the long route, down Fairview, past the Harris Teeter where I still shopped, past the Harris YMCA where I coached Marcus's soccer team in 3rd grade. The snow thickened. The radio played Oh Holy Night. I turned it off. I valet parked the CRV. The attendant, a kid with a Duke beanie, took the keys without a second glance. I tipped him a crumpled 5. He smiled like I'd given him a 20. Inside, the lobby was a cathedral of marble and gold. Chandeliers dripped light. A 40-foot tree glittered with Swarovski ornaments. The air smelled of cedar and cinnamon and money. I walked slow, shoulders hunched, purse clutched to my chest. Heads turned, not in recognition, in pity. Marcus stood near the fountain, tall, dark suit, tie too tight. He saw me. His face flickered, relief, then embarrassment. Mom, he hugged me quick. You made it. Of course. He stepped back, looked me up and down. You okay? You look tired. Long week, I said, church bazaar. He nodded, didn't ask more. Simone approached, my daughter-in-law. Cream silk dress, heels that cost more than my car payment, hair in soft waves. She kissed the air near my cheek. Mother Harper, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, darling. Her parents were already seated. Lord and Lady Ashford. Real titles, old money, older arrogance. Veronica wore emerald velvet and diamonds that caught the light like knives. Reginald, tweed suit, pocket square, watch the size of a hockey puck. They stood when we approached, not out of respect, out of performance. Evelyn, Veronica said, hand extended like she was knighting me. I shook it, limp, cold. Reginald nodded, charmed. We sat. I took the chair at the end, furthest from the window, closest to the server station. No one offered to help. The table was set for royalty. Gold-rimmed plates, crystal that sang when touched, menus bound in leather. No prices. The sommelier appeared. Mrs. Harper, your usual table is ready, and Chef Laurent sends compliments on last year's donation to the children's wing. Shall I bring the 98 Chateau Margaux? The table froze. Marcus blinked. Mom? I smiled, small. Water's fine, thank you, Jean-Paul. Jean-Paul bowed, disappeared. Veronica's eyebrow arched. You know the sommelier? Church friend, I lied. The menus opened. I pretended to squint. Everything's in French. Veronica sighed. Allow me. The foie gras is divine, though pricey. Perhaps the soup? Soup's perfect, I said. I'm simple. Reginald chuckled. We admire thrift. The waiter took orders. Veronica ordered for me. Consommé, no croutons. Watching the figure, she said with a wink. Marcus shifted. Mom, you sure you're okay? You seem off. I'm fine, honey, just overwhelmed. This place is fancy. Simone smiled tightly. We wanted to make it special. First Christmas with family. Veronica leaned in. Evelyn, Marcus tells us you're between jobs. Retired, I said. Nurse, 20 years at Carolina's Medical. Reginald nodded. Noble profession, though the pension can be much. I shrugged. I manage. Veronica's eyes softened. Fake. We understand. Times are hard. That's why we're here. To help. Marcus frowned. Help? Reginald cleared his throat. We've discussed it. A small allowance. Say, 1,000 a month. To ease the burden. In exchange, perhaps less reliance on Marcus. Give the young couple space. The word burden hung in the air like smoke. I folded my hands. That's generous. Veronica smiled. We believe in family, but boundaries matter. The soup arrived. I sipped. It tasted like salt and judgment. Marcus's jaw clenched. Mom, you don't have to. It's fine. I'm used to managing. Veronica continued. We've secured Marcus a position at Ashford Global, London office, 6 figures, benefits. He starts January. Simone beamed. We're moving. I set down my spoon. Without asking me? Marcus looked guilty. We were going to tell you tonight. Reginald raised his glass. To new beginnings. I didn't drink. The main course arrived. Veronica's filet mignon, $85. My soup, $18. She cut her steak with precision. Quality matters, Evelyn. One must invest in oneself. I nodded. I invest in people. She laughed. People don't pay dividends. The sommelier appeared. Mrs. Harper, the chef insists. Complimentary caviar for your generosity last year. A silver tray. Beluga, mother of pearl spoons. Veronica's fork paused. You donated to the hospital? Small gift, I said. 50,000. Anonymous. The table went quiet. Reginald recovered first. Anonymous? How modest. I smiled. Modesty's free. Dessert. Veronica ordered the gold-dusted chocolate dome, $45. I asked for coffee. Black. She leaned in. Evelyn, about the allowance. We'll wire it quarterly to avoid awkwardness. Marcus exploded. Enough. Mom's not a charity case. Veronica raised a hand. Darling, we're helping. I stood, slowly. May I say something? The table stilled. I looked at Veronica. You offered 1,000 a month to buy my absence. Let me counter. I reached into my purse, pulled out a black card. American Express Centurion, titanium. My name engraved. I placed it on the table. Veronica's eyes widened. That's unlimited, I said. I pay for this dinner, the wine, the caviar, the tip. Consider it a Christmas gift. Reginald laughed nervously. A joke? No joke. I looked at Marcus. Son, I need to tell you something. He swallowed. Mom? I'm not a nurse. I'm Evelyn Harper, CEO of Harper Therapeutics. I own the patent on the Parkinson's implant your father died testing. I make $45,000 a month. I own this hotel. I funded the children's wing. I've been watching you, all of you, for months. Simone gasped. Veronica's face drained of color. I continued. I came dressed like this to see how you'd treat someone you thought had nothing, and you showed me. Reginald stood. This is absurd. Sit, I said, voice calm, steel. He sat. I looked at Marcus. Son, I need to tell you something. He swallowed. Mom, I'm not a nurse. I'm Evelyn Harper, CEO of Harper Therapeutics. I own the patent on the Parkinson's implant your father died testing. I make $45,000 a month. I own this hotel. I funded the children's wing. I've been watching you, all of you, for months. Simone gasped. Veronica's face drained of color. I continued. I came dressed like this to see how you'd treat someone you thought had nothing, and you showed me. Reginald stood. This is absurd. Sit, I said, voice calm. Steel. He sat. I looked at Marcus. Son, I need to tell you something. He swallowed. Mom, I'm not a nurse. I'm Evelyn Harper, CEO of Harper Therapeutics. I own the patent on the
because
Parkinson's
I wanted you
implant
to
your
earn your way, not inherit mine. But tonight, you let them humiliate me. You let them offer to pay me to disappear. Marcus's eyes filled. Mom, I didn't. You did. Veronica tried to speak. I raised a hand. I'm not finished. I turned to her. You measure worth in carats and zip codes. I measure it in character, and yours is bankrupt. The waiter approached. Mrs. Harper, the bill? I nodded. Charge it to my account, and add a $10,000 tip for the staff. Veronica's card, she'd insisted on splitting, was declined. Then Reginald's, then Simone's. I smiled. System glitch, happens. Marcus stood. Mom, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Now you do. I picked up my purse, walked to the door. Marcus followed. Wait. I stopped. Come to the house tomorrow, alone. We'll talk. He nodded. Tears. I walked out into the snow. The valet brought my CRV. I tipped him 100. He stared. I drove home slow. The snow fell thicker. The radio played Silent Night. I didn't cry. I smiled. The snow kept falling long after I left the Ballantine, thick and relentless, turning Charlotte's streets into a white hush. I drove home with the windows cracked, letting the cold bite my cheeks, letting it sharpen the edges of what had just happened. The CRV's tires crunched over fresh powder on Providence Road. Streetlights blurred into gold halos. The radio stayed off. I didn't need carols. I needed silence to replay every word, every look, every fork that had paused mid-air when Jean-Paul said, donation. My ranch house appeared at the end of the cul-de-sac, porch light glowing like a lone candle. I parked in the driveway, no garage tonight. Let the snow cover the car. Let it cover everything. I sat for a minute, engine ticking as it cooled, hands still on the wheel. The thrift store coat was damp now, clinging to my shoulders. I peeled it off in the foyer, hung it on the hook by the door where it had lived for years. The house smelled of nothing. No pine, no cinnamon, no cookies. I'd stopped pretending seasons ago. I walked to the kitchen, opened the fridge, took out a bottle of water, drank half, set it down, stared at the calendar on the wall. December 24th circled in red. Dinner with Marcus and Simone's parents. I'd written it in September when he first mentioned the invitation. I'd known then. Known I'd play the part. Known I'd let them dig their own graves with silver spoons. My phone buzzed on the counter. Marcus. Mom, please pick up. I let it ring out. Another text. I'm outside. I walked to the front window. His Audi sat at the curb, headlights cutting through the snow. He was early. Desperate. I opened the door. He stood on the porch in his dress shoes, no coat, snowflakes melting in his hair. 35 years old, and he looked 12 again. Scared, guilty, needing his mother. Mom, come in. He stepped inside, shoes leaving wet prints on the hardwood. I closed a door. Didn't offer cocoa, didn't offer comfort. He looked around. No tree? I gave it to the church. He swallowed. I messed up. Yes. I didn't know. You didn't ask. He flinched. I thought you were struggling. The house, the car. You never said. I never lied. He ran a hand through his hair. They're awful. Veronica, Reginald, I see it now. I should have seen it sooner. I walked to the living room, sat on the sofa. The same sofa where he'd fallen asleep during The Lion King at age 6. He followed, stood. Sit, he sat. I spoke slow. Tell me everything. From the beginning. He exhaled. Simone's parents flew in last week, stayed at the Ballantine. They kept asking about you. I told them what I knew. Widow, retired nurse, live simply. They said they wanted to help. Said I shouldn't have to worry about you financially. Said it would be a burden on our marriage. Burden, he nodded. I defended you, but they kept pushing. Said 1,000 a month would let you live comfortably. Let us start fresh in London. London. They offered me a job, VP of European Operations, $250K, signing bonus. They said it was time I stopped splitting my focus. I leaned back, and Simone, she agreed, said it was best for us, for the future. I closed my eyes. You were going to leave without telling me? I was going to tell you tonight, after dinner. I swear. I opened my eyes. You let them offer to pay me to disappear? He looked down. I was going to stop it. I froze. Silence stretched. The snow tapped the windows. I stood, walked to the mantel, took down the photo. 2005, Myrtle Beach. His father's arm around me, Marcus on my hip, gap-toothed grin. Your father died testing the implant, I said. Did you know that? He frowned. The car accident? No accident. Phase 3 trial. He volunteered. Harper Therapeutics paid out $2 million in settlement. I used it to buy the company, built it from nothing. 45 patents, 3,000 employees. I make $45,000 a month because I earned it, every cent. Marcus stared. Why didn't you tell me? Because I wanted you to want me, not my money. He stood. I do want you. I love you. Then why did you let them treat me like trash? He had no answer. I walked to the kitchen, opened a drawer, took out a folder. Thick, manila, Harper Family Trust. I handed it to him. He opened it. Eyes widened. $10 million, I said. In your name. Invest it since you were born. You'll never touch the principal, only dividends. Enough to live well, not enough to ruin you. He flipped pages. Mom, there's more. The house paid off. The CRV paid off. College paid off. Your wedding, I paid for the venue, anonymously. He looked up. Tears. I've been watching, I said. Every donation, every bonus, every stock split. I've been protecting you, even when you didn't know. He closed the folder. I don't want it. You don't have a choice. He set it on the table. I want you, not this. I smiled. Small. Then earn it. Start tomorrow. Come to the office. 8 a.m. No title, no favors. Entry level. Prove you're more than their puppet. He nodded. I will. I walked to the door, opened it. Snow swirled in. Go home. Talk to Simone. Tell her everything. If she loves you, she'll understand. If she doesn't, you'll know. He stepped onto the porch, turned. Mom, I waited. He walked to his car, drove away. I closed the door, sat in the dark.
This morning
The
broke
snow
cold and
cast
white over
lines.
South Park. The snow still drifting in lazy spirals past the frost-laced windows of my ranch house. I woke at 5:42 a.m., the way I had every December 25th since Marcus was born. No alarm, just the internal clock of a mother who once believed in Santa and magic and the smell of cinnamon rolls at dawn. The house was dark. The thermostat read 62. I hadn't turned the heat up. I slipped into flannel pajamas, thick socks, and Dad's old cardigan, the one with the elbow patches I'd never fixed. I padded to the kitchen, started coffee, black, strong. The pot gurgled like it was gossiping with the silence. I opened the fridge, took out eggs, took out butter, took out the cinnamon rolls I'd made at 2 a.m. while Marcus's texts burned holes in my phone. I'd ignored them all. I slid the tray into the oven, set the timer for 20 minutes. The scent filled the house, warm, yeasty, nostalgic. I stood at the sink, watching snow pile on the bird feeder. A cardinal landed, red against white. I smiled. Dad would have called it a sign. The doorbell rang at 6:57. I wiped my hands on a dish towel, walked to the door, opened it. Simone, alone. She stood on the porch in a camel coat, real camel, not thrift store. Boots dusted with snow, hair in a low bun, no makeup. Her eyes were red. Her hands clutched a small gift bag. Mother Harper. Simone. May I come in? I stepped aside. She entered,
took off her boots, set them neatly by the door, looked around. The simple tree was still gone. The stockings I'd hung for 30 years were in a box in the attic. The only light came from the string of white bulbs I'd wrapped around the banister last night, on a whim, after Marcus left. "It smells amazing," she said. "Cinnamon rolls?" She nodded, swallowed. "Marcus told me everything last night after you left. He came home. We talked until 4. He showed me the trust, the patents, the everything." I walked to the kitchen. She followed. I poured 2 mugs of coffee, handed her one, black, no sugar. She wrapped both hands around it. "I didn't know." "I know." I thought you were struggling." Marcus said. Marcus assumed. She looked down. "I let my parents talk. I let them plan. I let them offer you money to disappear. I'm ashamed." I leaned against the counter. "Sit." She sat at the table, the same table where Marcus had carved his initials at age 7. I'd never sanded them out. I spoke calm. "Tell me about your parents." She exhaled. "Old money, London, boarding schools, trust funds. They raised me to believe security was everything, that love was conditional, that people without means were projects, charity cases. And Marcus? They saw him as an opportunity, a way into American markets. Ashford Global needs Harper Therapeutics distribution channels. They thought if they controlled Marcus, they'd control you." I nodded. "And you?" She met my eyes. "I love him, I do. But I was scared. Scared of disappointing them. Scared of losing their approval. Scared of being poor." The oven timer dinged. I took out the rolls. Golden. Perfect. Iced them with cream cheese frosting. Set the tray on the table. 2 forks. "Eat." She took one. Bit. Closed her eyes. "God, these are good." I sat across from her. Took one. We ate in silence. She spoke first. "Marcus quit the London job this morning. Sent the email at 5 a.m. I raised an eyebrow. "He starts at Harper Monday. Entry level, like you said." I nodded. "He's at the hotel now, telling my parents, in person." I set down my fork. "They won't take it well." "No," she said. "They're already threatening to cut us off, disinherit me, freeze my trust. They think money is leverage." "It is," I said, "until it isn't." She looked at me. "What happens now?" "Now, you choose. Your parents' world or yours. Marcus or their approval. Fear or freedom." She wiped her mouth. "I choose Marcus. I choose us. I choose you." I studied her. "That's a big choice." "I know." I stood. Walked to the cabinet. Took out a small box, wrapped in brown paper, tied with twine. I handed it to her. She opened it. Inside, a key, brass, old. "What is it?" "The lake house, Lake Norman, 10 acres. My wedding gift to you and Marcus. Paid off. No mortgage, no strings." Her eyes filled. "Mother Harper. Evelyn." "Evelyn, why?" "Because love isn't conditional, and family isn't a transaction." She cried. Quiet, real. I let her. The doorbell rang again. I opened it. Marcus. Snow in his hair, eyes bloodshot, coat unbuttoned. "They're gone," he said. "Left for the airport. Said we're ungrateful. Said they'll contest the trust. Said, let them." He stepped inside. Saw Simone. Froze. She stood. "I'm sorry." He walked to her. Hugged her. Hard. I watched.
The lake
The
house sat on a
snow
quiet
kept falling.
cove of Lake Norman, 30 minutes north of Charlotte, where the water turned glass still at dawn and the pines leaned over the shore like old men whispering secrets. I hadn't been there in 3 years, not since the divorce, not since I signed the deed over to a trust with Marcus's name on it, then buried the key in a drawer and pretended it didn't exist. The house was cedar and stone, 3 stories, wraparound porch, dock jetting into the water like a promise. I'd bought it in 2010 with the first big licensing check from the Parkinson's implant. Cash, no mortgage, no fanfare. The realtor had called it a steal,
I'd called it insurance. I drove up at 10:12 a.m. on December 26th, the CRV crunching over fresh snow on the private drive. Marcus and Simone followed in his Audi. The sky was the color of steel, the lake frozen at the edges. I parked beside the boathouse, got out. The air smelled of pine and ice and wood smoke from somewhere far off. I wore jeans, boots, the same cardigan, no coat. The cold felt honest. Marcus stepped out, looked at the house. "This is yours?" "Yours now." Simone stood beside him, gift bag in hand, the one with the key. She hadn't stopped staring at it since Christmas morning. I walked to the porch, took the spare key from under the flower pot. Yes, I still hid it there. Unlocked the door. Inside smelled of cedar and dust and memory. The furniture was covered in sheets, the fireplace cold, the kitchen island bare. I pulled the sheets off the sofa, the dining table, the bookshelves. Marcus and Simone followed, silent. I opened the French doors to the deck. The lake stretched out, white and endless. Marcus spoke first. "Mom, this is insane." "It's home." Simone walked to the window. "It's beautiful." I leaned against the railing. "Your father and I spent our first anniversary here. No electricity, just a lantern and a bottle of wine. He said it was the richest he'd ever felt." Marcus joined me. "Why give it to us?" "Because you need a place to start. Not London, not their money. Here." Simone set the gift bag on the table. "We can't accept this." "You already did." She shook her head. "It's too much." I turned to her. "It's not about the house. It's about the choice. You chose Marcus. You chose truth. This is what truth looks like." Marcus looked at the dock. "I used to fish here, with Dad. You were 6, caught a perch, cried when we threw it back." He smiled, small. I walked inside, opened the pantry, took out a bottle of bourbon, Pappy Van Winkle 23 year, unopened. Christmas present to myself, 2015. Marcus whistled. "That's $3,000. Closer to 5 now." I poured 3 glasses, handed them over. "To new beginnings." We clinked. Simone sipped. "Strong. Like family." We drank. I set my glass down. "There's more." I walked to the office, opened the safe, took out a folder. Thick, leather-bound. Lake Norman Trust. I handed it to Marcus. He opened it, eyes widened. 20 acres adjacent, undeveloped, zoned for commercial, worth $8 million. Yours too, when you're ready. Simone gasped. "Evelyn." "Stop. It's not charity. It's legacy. Your children will never know poverty or arrogance." Marcus closed the folder. "I don't know what to say." "Don't say, do." I walked to the fireplace, knelt, stacked kindling, lit it. The flames caught, crackled, warmed the room. Simone sat on the hearth. "My parents called this morning from Heathrow, said we're cut off. No trust, no inheritance, no contact." I poked the fire. "Good." Marcus sat beside her. "They're contesting the marriage, saying I was coerced." I laughed, cold. "Let them. They'll lose." Simone looked at me. "How can you be so calm?" "Because I've been poor, and I've been rich, and I know which one breaks you." The fire popped, sparks flew. Marcus spoke. "I start Monday. What do I do?" "Show up, learn, earn, no shortcuts." He nodded. Simone reached into the gift bag, took out a small box, handed it to me. I opened it. Inside, a keychain, hand-carved wood, Harper. She smiled. "I made it last night in the hotel wood shop the concierge let me." I turned it over. My initials. Perfect. "Thank you." We sat in silence. The fire roared. The snow fell. The lake waited. I stood. "Come." I led them to the basement, opened the door, flipped the light. A wine cellar, temperature controlled, thousands of bottles. "Marcus, Mom." "Your father's collection, and mine. Some are worth more than the house." Simone touched a bottle. "This is insane." No, it's patience. I closed the door. We walked back upstairs. I opened the fridge, took out steaks, potatoes, asparagus. Dinner. We cooked. Marcus grilled, Simone chopped, I set the table. We ate by firelight, no words, just the crackle of wood and the clink of forks. After, I washed, they dried. Marcus spoke. We're staying tonight. I nodded. Simone looked at me. Will you? I'll sleep in the guest room. She smiled. It's your house. No, it's yours. We stood on the deck. The moon rose over the lake, silver on snow. Marcus put his arm around Simone. I stood apart. Simone spoke. What happens tomorrow? Life. Marcus looked at me. And them? They'll learn, or they won't. Either way, we're free. The fire died to embers. We went inside. I locked the door.
Monday,
The
December
lake
28th,
house
dawned
breathed.
sharp and blue over uptown Charlotte, the snow already melting into slush along Tryon Street. I left the lake house at 6:03 a.m., the CRV's tires hissing through puddles, the heater blasting warm against the cardigan I still wore. Marcus had texted at 5:47, on my way, black coffee? I'd replied, 2 sugars, no cream. The lake house key, now on Simone's new keychain, jingled in the cup holder. I'd left them asleep in the master bedroom, tangled in flannel sheets, the fire burned to ash. They'd find the note on the counter. Coffee in the pot, keys on the hook, see you at 8. Harper Therapeutics occupied the top 5 floors of the Truist Center, a glass tower that caught the sunrise like a blade. I parked in the underground garage, space E, Harper, and took the private elevator to 42. The doors opened to a lobby of white marble and quiet power. The receptionist, Maya, stood when she saw me. Morning, Mrs. Harper. Coffee's ready. Mr. Marcus is in the lobby downstairs. I nodded. Send him up. I walked to my office. Corner, floor-to-ceiling windows. Charlotte spread below like a circuit board. My desk, walnut, no photos, no clutter. Just a laptop, a legal pad, and the brass nameplate. Evelyn M. Harper, Chairman and CEO. I opened the laptop, logged in, checked the overnight numbers. Revenue up 2.1%, patent filings on track. FDA meeting scheduled for January. I closed it. Maya knocked. He's here. Marcus stepped in. Suit, navy, off the rack, tie slightly crooked. Hair still damp from the shower. He carried 2 paper cups from Amelie's. Black, 2 sugars. I took it. Sit. He sat in the leather chair opposite. Looked around. This is your office. Yours is on 38. Cubicle 12C. Badge is on the desk. He swallowed. Cobol. You wanted to earn it. He nodded, set his coffee down. I'm ready. I stood, walked to the window. First rule, no one knows you're my son. Not yet. You're Marcus Reed. New hire, supply chain. You report to Patel. You fetch coffee, you file reports, you learn. Got it. Second rule, no favors, no shortcuts. You miss a deadline, you're written up. You screw up, you're fired. Same as anyone. He met my eyes. Understood. Third rule, you ask questions, you listen, you absorb. This company saved lives, your father's included, for a while. Don't forget that. He nodded. I walked to the door. Maya will take you down. Orientation at 8:30, be early. He stood. Mom, Mrs. Harper. He smiled. Small. Mrs. Harper. Thank you. Don't thank me. Earn me. He left. I sat, opened the laptop again, typed an email to HR. Marcus Reed, probationary hire. No special treatment. Reports directly to me on performance. Sent. The day blurred. Meetings, calls, a board member from Tokyo, a senator from D.C., begging for campaign funds. I declined, politely. At noon, Maya buzzed. Simone's here, says it's personal. I walked to the lobby. Simone stood by the elevators, coat folded over her arm, boots wet from the slush. She carried a small paper bag. Thought you might need lunch. I took her to the executive dining room, private, quiet, view of the skyline. We sat by the window. She opened the bag. turkey sandwiches, pickles, chips from the deli on Sharon Road. I remembered you liked their rye bread. I smiled. You remembered. We ate. She spoke first. Marcus texted. Said his badge works. Said Patel seems tough. Patel is tough. Best in the business. She nodded. My parents landed in London. Veronica sent a voicemail. 20 minutes. Threats, tears, accusations. I sipped water. And I deleted it. Blocked the number. She looked out the window. I quit my job. This morning. Marketing at Ashford Global. Remote, but still. Their payroll. I raised an eyebrow. And now I figure out who I am without them. I set my sandwich down. You'll start at Harper. Tomorrow, marketing. Entry level. Same rules as Marcus. Her eyes widened. You do that? I'm not doing anything. You're earning it. She smiled. Real. Thank you. Don't thank me. Prove me. We finished lunch. I walked her to the elevator. She hugged me. Quick, fierce. The doors closed. I went back to work. At 5 o'clock, Maya buzzed again. Lord and Lady Ashford are in the lobby, demanding to see you. I smiled. Send them up. They arrived at 5:07. Veronica in fur, Reginald in tweed, faces red from cold and fury. Veronica spoke first. This is unacceptable. I leaned against my desk. Hello to you too. Reginald stepped forward. You've poisoned our daughter, our grandson-in-law. You've stolen our family. I laughed. Stolen? They chose. Veronica's voice rose. You bribed them with property, money, lies. I walked to the window. I gave them truth. You gave them chains. Reginald pulled out his phone. We're calling our attorneys. We'll sue for coercion, fraud, emotional distress. I turned. Go ahead. Discovery will be fun. Every email, every text, every offshore account you use to hide dividends. I have them all. Veronica paled. You wouldn't. I already did. I opened a drawer, took out a flash drive, tossed it to Reginald. He caught it. Copies for your lawyers. Merry Christmas. They stared. I walked to the door. Security will escort you out. You're trespassing. Veronica lunged. You'll regret this. I smiled. I already don't. Security arrived. 2 men, polite, firm. They left. I closed the door. Sat. Opened the laptop again. Typed an email to the board. Ashford Global, terminate all contracts. Effective immediately. Sent. The city lights flickered on below. I poured a bourbon.
The Truist
Drank.
Center boardroom
snow
on the
had stopped.
42nd floor was a cathedral of glass and walnut, the long table polished to a mirror that reflected the January sky sliding from pale gold to bruised violet. It was 7:03 a.m. on January 4th, the first board meeting of the new year, and the room smelled of fresh coffee, leather portfolios, and the faint ozone of tension. I stood at the head of the table in a charcoal suit, hair in a low knot, no jewelry except the wedding band I still hadn't removed. The board, 12 men and women in tailored armor, sat in silence, laptops open, eyes flicking between me and the 2 empty chairs at the far end. Marcus and Simone were late. I didn't check my watch. I didn't need to. The clock on the wall ticked loud enough for all of us. Dr. Patel, supply chain, cleared his throat. CFO Lang tapped her pen. The Tokyo rep adjusted his tie. I let the silence stretch until it snapped. The door opened at 7:07. Marcus stepped in first, navy suit now pressed, tie straight, badge clipped to his belt. M. Reed, supply chain. Simone followed in a black blazer and skirt, hair in a sleek ponytail, badge reading S. Reed, marketing. They carried notepads, not egos. They took the 2 empty chairs without apology. I spoke. Good morning. Let's begin. I clicked the remote. The screen lit up. Q4 revenue, 1.42B. Patent pipeline, 7 approved, 3 pending. Ashford's global contracts terminated. Gasps rippled. Lang leaned forward. Terminated? Evelyn, that's 12% of distribution. I corrected. We've secured direct channels in Europe, better margins, no middlemen. Patel frowned. Timeline. 60 days. The Tokyo rep raised a hand. Legal exposure.
None. Ashford breached exclusivity clauses. We have emails. I clicked again. Veronica's email to Marcus. Accept the London offer or lose Simone's trust. Reginald's follow-up. Harper is a liability. Eliminate her influence. The room stilled. I let them read. Marcus's jaw clenched. Simone's eyes stayed on the table. I clicked off the screen. Effective today, Harper Therapeutics is family-run in name only. Decisions are merit-based. Performance is earned. I looked at Marcus. Mr. Reed, your report. He stood, voice very professional. Supply chain audit complete. Identified 3 vendors overcharging by 9%. Negotiated reductions. Saved $4.2 million annually. Patel nodded, impressed. Simone stood next. Marketing rebrand proposal. Focus on patient stories, not patents. Projected 18% increase in direct-to-consumer engagement. Budget $1.1 million. The CMO smiled. I like it. I nodded. Approved. The meeting rolled. Numbers, projections, FDA timelines. At 8:45, I closed my laptop. One more item. The Harper Foundation. New initiative. $50 million endowment. Scholarships for first-gen STEM students. Administered anonymously. Marcus and Simone will co-chair. The board applauded. Marcus blinked. We will? You will. Meeting adjourned. They filed out. Marcus and Simone lingered. Marcus spoke first. $50 million? Seed money. You'll raise the rest. Simone smiled. We won't let you down. Don't let yourselves down. They left. I stayed, opened the window. Cold air rushed in. The city hummed below. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. London code. I answered. Veronica's voice, thin, brittle. You've destroyed us. No, you did. Ashford Global is collapsing, investors pulling out, board calling for Reginald's head. I watched a pigeon land on the ledge. Consequences. You'll pay for this. I already have, in silence, for years. Click. I blocked the number. Sat. Poured coffee from the carafe. The Harper Foundation launched quietly on February 14th, Valentine's Day, because irony is free. No press conference, no ribbon cutting, just a single email to 200 universities and a website that went live at 12:01 a.m., harperstem.org. Clean white background, one line of text, first gen, first chance. By 6 a.m., 4,317 applications had crashed the server. By noon, the endowment hit 75M. Marcus and Simone had cold-called every contact I'd ever made, plus a few they charmed on their own. By sunset, the headline in the Charlotte Observer read, Mystery 75M Fund Targets STEM's Forgotten Kids. I read it in the lake house kitchen, snow still clinging to the pines outside, coffee steaming in a chipped mug that used to be Dad's. Marcus and Simone sat across from me, laptops open, eyes bloodshot from no sleep. They wore Harper hoodies, gray, no logo, ordered in bulk from a local printer. The table was chaos. Legal pads, Post-its, 3 empty pizza boxes, and a whiteboard scrawled with names, GPAs, and hometowns. Marcus rubbed his temples. We're at capacity. Servers are frying. Simone scrolled. Duke just sent 400 more apps. UNC Charlotte, 600. I closed the laptop. Cap it at 5,000. First come, first reviewed. Marcus nodded. On it. Simone looked up. We need a name for the first scholar. I stood, walked to the mantel, took down the photo. Myrtle Beach, 2005. Marcus on my hip, gap-toothed, his father's arm around us. Name it after him, I said. The Daniel Harper Scholarship. Simone's eyes softened. He'd love that. Marcus swallowed. Yeah. I walked to the deck doors, opened them. Cold air rushed in, carrying the scent of pine and lake ice. The dock was empty, waiting for spring. I spoke without turning. First awards ceremony, April 1st. Here. No cameras, no speeches, just the kids and their families. We cook, we listen, we fund. Marcus joined me. How many? 10 to start. Full ride, room, board, books, stipend. No debt, ever. Simone appeared on my other side. Criteria? Grit. Grades secondary. Essays mandatory. Topic: the moment you knew you'd make it. Marcus smiled. Dad's story. I nodded. We stood in silence. The lake reflected the moon, silver on black. Simone spoke. Veronica emailed from a new address. I didn't flinch. Delete it. Already did. Marcus exhaled. They're in Courcheville, skiing, posted photos. Caption, family first. I laughed, cold. Let them. Simone leaned on the railing. I unfollowed, blocked, muted, all of it. Good. Marcus looked up at me. You okay? I met his eyes. Never better. We went inside. The fire was low. I added logs. Sparks flew. Simone opened her laptop. First essay just came in. Kid from Gastonia, single mom, works nights at Waffle House. 4.0 in chem, wants to cure Alzheimer's. Marcus read over her shoulder. Holy hell. I poured bourbon. 3 glasses. To the kids who'll never know we existed. We clinked. Drank. The fire roared. The foundation.
1 year later, arrived in a hush of fresh snow over the lake house, the kind that muffles the world and makes every footstep a confession. I woke at 5:11 a.m. in the guest room I'd claimed as mine, no longer a guest, just home. The house smelled of pine and cinnamon and the faint trace of bourbon from the night before. I slipped into jeans, boots, Dad's cardigan, and walked barefoot to the kitchen. The coffee pot gurgled. The tree, real, 8 feet, dragged in by Marcus and Simone last week, stood in the corner, bare except for the white lights I'd strung alone at 2 a.m., humming Billie Holiday under my breath. Marcus and Simone were still asleep upstairs. They'd moved in permanently in March, turned the master into theirs, the basement office into a war room for the foundation. The lake house was no longer a gift. It was headquarters, heartbeat, future. I opened the fridge, took out eggs, bacon, oranges, started breakfast. The griddle hissed, the bacon popped. I squeezed juice by hand, the way Dad taught me. Footsteps on the stairs, Simone first, flannel pajamas, hair in a messy bun, eyes soft with sleep. She hugged me from behind. Merry Christmas, Evelyn. Merry Christmas, kid. Marcus followed, hoodie zipped, beard trimmed, carrying the wooden box he'd built last month. He set it on the counter. Ornaments, he said, hand-carved, 10 of them, 1 for each scholar. I opened the lid. 10 perfect wooden stars, each engraved with a name and a date, the day their life changed. Jasmine, Gastonia, 4/125. Tyrell, Durham, 4/125. Maria, Charlotte, 4/125. I traced Jasmine's name with my thumb. She starts Duke in August. Marcus nodded. Pre-med, full ride. Simone poured coffee, 3 mugs, black, 2 sugars for Marcus, cream for her. We drank in silence. The doorbell rang at 6:47. I opened it. 10 kids, 10 families, snow on their coats, hope in their eyes. Jasmine first, braids, Duke hoodie, mom in scrubs behind her. Tyrell, tall, shy, holding his little sister's hand. Maria, glasses, notebook clutched to her chest. They filed in, boots jerking, voices hushed. I hugged each one. Welcome home. Marcus took coats, Simone passed cocoa. The fire roared. The tree waited. We ate breakfast at the long table, pancakes, bacon, eggs, cinnamon rolls. Laughter filled the room. Stories spilled out, night shifts, food stamps, first Bunsen burners, dreams too big for trailers. I listened, didn't speak, just watched Marcus and Simone move among them, refilling plates, wiping spills, memorizing memes. After, we gathered in the living room. The tree loomed. Marcus spoke. This tree is yours. Decorate it with your stories. He handed each scholar their star. Jasmine went first, hung hers high. This is for my mom. She worked double so I could study. Tyrell next, for my sister. She believed when no one else did. Maria next, for my dad. He crossed the border with $20 and a prayer. One by one, the stars rose. The tree glowed, not with diamonds, but with truth. I stood back. Tears came. Quiet. Simone squeezed my hand. Marcus looked at me. Your turn. He handed me the final ornament, a single brass key, engraved, E. Harper, 1224. I hung it at the top, for the woman who never needed to prove she was enough. The room stilled. Jasmine spoke. That's you. I smiled. It's all of us. We opened presents, no wrapping paper,
Just brown paper and twine, books, laptops, lab coats, stethoscopes. One by one, the kids cried, hugged, thanked. I slipped outside to the deck. The lake was frozen solid. The snow had stopped. The sky was the color of pearl. Marcus joined me. You okay? Never better. Simone followed. We did it. We're just starting. She looked at the tree through the window. Stars twinkling, kids laughing. My parents sent a card, she said, from Courchevel. No return address. I nodded. Let it go. I already did. Marcus put his arm around her. We're enough. I looked at them, my son, my daughter, my legacy. Yes, I said, we are. We went inside. The fire crackled. The tree stood tall. The stars shone. And for the first time in 35 years, I decorated my Christmas tree with truth.